Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Thompson Lathe Tools. Welcome to a new level of professional wood-turning tools. Made by a woodturner for woodturners. Welcome to Woodturning. Today we're going to make a glass insulator Christmas angel. Kind of a neat project here, and it's got a lot of steps to it. There are a lot of projects you do where it's just turning wood. Well, this one's going to deal more with how do you mount the wood? How do you not waste wood? How do you turn things around and hold them? Because this has a lot of challenges to it, and I think you can learn some neat tips and techniques through this project today. So anyway, when I first turned this, I actually turned it for this one, and I got the hollow to fit just perfectly on that, but I didn't like the skirt width on it. It looks a little narrow, like the angels on a diet on the base there. So Brian and I went out shopping, and we found this one right here, which really fits nice, and I like the way it flares. But then we got to thinking we want some color to this, and Brian remembered that they make these in color, so we wound up finding a blue one. We know there's a red one out there somewhere. We weren't able to find it. But these are going to be really cool because you can put a light in there and then you'll have that also glowing. So it'll be a really cool presentation. But what we're going to be using to make this entire project are 2 blocks of walnut. They're both 2 inches thick. They're from a board. This is one of the things we're doing about not wasting wood. So instead of getting a giant 4x4 and cutting it up, which is very expensive, this is a 2-inch thick kiln-dried piece of wood, and so it's just a board, and so I cut out a 3-inch square and a 2.5-inch square. This is going to be basically the skirt, and this is going to be the head and the collar. So then the other piece we need for the wings is a piece of birdseye maple. So you can see all the little bird's eyes in there and stuff. And as a way to save wood, this came in a 1-inch thickness, and I actually resawed it so it's half the thickness it was to begin with. That's what it looks like right there. So anyway, the other cool thing about this is that by making 2 of these, you can make 2 angels. So the first thing we want to do on that idea of not wasting wood is you want to find the center of your blank, and you want to be really accurate when you do it. So one method is to take a cross center, and I love this thing. And first technique is I put my fingers like this, either side of the slot. So then my finger goes up into this corner. So it's a way of just centering this when it goes in. So my fingers touch like that. Really simple. And so this point and that point are there, and I just slide it till I see that point and that point, or corner right there. And so then I just make a simple mark, and I have found the perfect center of my piece of wood. Now, if this wood is out of round or something like that, so it's not perfectly square, which I'm really bad at doing, all you have to do is when you put it on here, you line up one corner like that, and you simply make your mark, and then you take this one, just twist it, whatever you got to do to line it up, you make your mark, and there you have your center like that. So we have the center on this, and we already have it on this one. I went ahead and did that ahead of time. I want to take a compass now and get the biggest circle out here that I can to make the wings. Well, when you have odd pieces of wood that are shaped like this, you can do the old trick that I do. It drives me absolutely crazy, is you come in with your compass and you find a corner and then you turn it and try to figure out where you are and all that stuff and move around. Well, one little trick I found out was, since this has a numerical gauge on it, so you see it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I guess if I held it right side up, it'd be a lot easier to read. But anyway, we're going to use those numbers to help us center. So I'm going to come down onto this wonky piece of wood, and if I go across here, I can see that I'm coming out to the last line on the 5s. So there's the last line on that 5. I'm going to move it up so I don't waste any wood. So we're about there. Now I know right here is where I want to put my compass point. And so if I put my compass point here, and then make the compass as wide as possible, I now should be able to draw a perfect circle because I am in the exact right position. And look how I didn't waste any wood. So that's pretty cool. Well, anyway, the next thing we want to do is take this over to the lathe. Okay, now I'm just using a stem center, and whoops, I got to lock down the tailstock. Using a stem center and my live center Robust makes, and so I'm putting this on here, and look how evenly that is balanced. It's not wobbling back and forth. So we found the center really well. Nothing is hitting the tool rest. So we're going to turn that on, and I'm going to grab a bowl gouge. And we're going to bring the speed up to round this out, because this is like a bowl blank. You have end grain, side grain, end grain, side grain. And make sure you have good sharp tools, because sharp tools always make your life happier. And I don't know if you could tell, a little piece of wood flew off and just went past my right shoulder. And that's because when you're turning a square blank, pieces chip off. But if you notice, I'm back away from the line of fire with this, so if anything like that comes off, it's not going to hit me. I love turning walnut. It's a beautiful wood. It is really nice. Oh, and we're already there. So there we go. We're rounded out. So the next thing I want to do is put a tenon on here that is about 1.5 inches in diameter, because we're going to be using that to put the head and the collar on here, and that's how we're going to hold it. I'm going to pull that back just a little bit. I'll get my handy dandy parting tool here. Turn this on. We're just going to eye this in. Lots of times in turning, close enough is good enough. That's about 1.5 inches right there. I'm going to make this a little bit wider. Okay, and this is a straight tenon. It's not a dovetail or anything like that, because we're just going to use it for gluing up. So the next thing, we're going to take this over to the drill press. Now what we want to do over here at the drill press is I want to hold this piece of wood on with a worm screw. And I'll show you on this one how it worked out. My worm screw doesn't roll away. Take her head off. Ah! Sorry about that. But anyway, you can see I have a hole drilled through here. Well, this piece is this piece over here. So I have the little tenon. I actually made it shorter this time because I didn't need it that long in the first place, but the first time you do things. So anyway, I want to drill this all the way through. So I have a brad point bit in there. I've got my clamp holding this, so I got a good grip on it. We're going to pulsate this. Oh, I didn't take off my depth gauge tape from another turning, but we'll see how that goes. It should come off. So we'll go all the way through. There we go. Perfect. Now we're ready to go back to the lathe, and we're going to mount that using this in a chuck. Okay, so I've got my blank mounted on here. I actually put a washer in here, a wood one, because I didn't want the screw to go too far into that hole, because I'm going to hollow out for certain ways, and I don't want to hit metal with my hollowing system. But I've got a caliper here, and I'm just going to take this diameter down here because I want the wood skirt to end right here. This one's kind of neat because it still tapers a bit. So I'm going to put my mark about there. So I've got this diameter, put that down. Brian is reading something on this, and it said like copyright or patented May 2nd, 1898. I don't know if it's that old, but that is so cool. I'm going to turn this on now. And so I've got my diameter here. I'm just going to take this and touch one edge. And when both those lines match up, I know that that's how much I want to take off of here. So I'll turn that off. I'm going to bring my tool rest up just a little bit. Okay. So it's right here. I want to stay back just a bit. I'm going to lower it down just a tick to get more on center. There we go. That looks good. So I'm going to turn this back up. I'm using a carbide tip made by Mike Hunter. And so I need to come up just a little bit more. You don't go anywhere. There we go. And if you have it on center, it really cuts very well. And why am I using this big old hollowing rig for doing such a little bitty thing? It's because I've got to really finesse that inside. I could use a scraper, but it's just a little more easy to handle when you've got this system and you're hollowing it out. And I just love it because it's a no-brainer. I just rotate this off the pivot of my hand and it cuts beautifully. So there's my line. I don't want to go past that yet. We'll keep going like so. There we go. Now just as a test, I'm going to pull this out. to about there. We'll turn that off, move this, get that out of the way. Take our glass insulator, and this is what I'm going to do for a few minutes. I'm just going to come up here and fit this. This insulator is a little bit taller, so I'm going to get really close to that screw, but that's why I put the spacer in there. So I'm going to keep working on this until this sleeves over there and fits nice and tight. Okay, we got this hollowed out about the way we want it. Just got dust in my eye, even with glasses on. So that fits pretty nice and firm. This one's making me do a little bit of a design modification, because if you look how tall and straight this is, I'm not going to have a lot of shape to my angel here. So I can't really do a curve that goes in aggressive this way. So I'm going to have to kind of do an out and an in this way. But that's okay. You just have to keep an eye out for that when you work with stuff that was made in 1898 or whatever. God, it's amazing they had electricity back then. So we'll turn this on here. I'm going to take my bowl gouge and we're going to start shaping and cleaning this up a little bit. It's a little out of round when you remount it on something like this. So I'm just going to do a quick pull cut here to get the edge right. So just a little pull like that, and I'm just going to do a little rounding over. This is kind of like turning a bead. But you can see I don't have a lot of wall thickness in here, so I'm working with some really tight margins when I make this shape. So I do want to have some sort of shape to it, but I just got to be very careful about how aggressive I go in right here on this part, because I think my depth is about right there. So I got to be really careful. I can go in really fast right here, but not much further back. And our angel has to have a nice waist. We got to do the angel justice. I don't want them to look like they need to go on a diet. Okay. Now, since this is still a bowl blank orientation, that's why I'm using my bowl gouge, because it has that tiny little tip and it takes less of a cut. However, that wing, see, gets me into trouble there. So I'm going to grab my little spindle gouge. We're going to try to sneak that in there and get a little more of an angle. Take a little too much, back off, start to cut again. Get a little vibration because you're in a hurry. Also, I'm having to hang the tool out a little bit over the tool rest, a little further than this one wants to go, because I got to get around this little washer I put in there. But this is really cool. I couldn't do this with a normal tool rest, and Robust makes all shapes and sizes of tool rests that make your life easy. I can't see under the camera. I'm doing a weird bend here for a second. Okay, that's getting about where I want it. So what I'm gonna do is tidy up the shape just a little bit, then I'm gonna sand it, put an oil finish on it, and we'll move on to the next piece. Okay, now we've made the skirt, and to make the head is the exact same thing. So we just simply rounded the blank out, and I went back to the drill press and I drilled a hole about 1.5 inches, which will receive this tenon, so they fit in there like so, and they sit on there like that. I'm not gluing this together, I'm leaving it loose. It's a nice touch. But also, what I like about drilling this hole here is I have my pin jaws now, and we will take this and put the, let's see, open, there we go. We're going to expand into that slot, because this is what I was talking about, different ways to hold wood and stuff. I actually need this head to be sitting like this in the on the lathe, but right now it's sitting like this. So it took me a little while to cipher it out and figure out how to get over to here, and I flipped it. So I got to turn a tenon on here that we're going to put in the jaws. Now it seems like a lot of steps, but that tenon is going to be very, very important. And once I get that made, we're going to flip it, and in part 2 I'll show you why that thing is so important. Goggles! Okay, there we go.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Thompson Lathe Tools. Welcome to a new level of professional wood turning tools. Made by a wood turner for wood turners.